Roger Hopner is a 75-year-old man from Wisconsin, and he recently picked up the hobby of restoring antique tractors. So the process in which you do that sometimes gets messy, and as a result, there were spare parts and tools left on his lawn and some other stuff. Well, the city didn't like that, so they fined him for it. So the fine was imposed on him for years. I think it was like $500 a day or something like that. And when all was said and done, years later, the total amount that he owed is now $80,000. What happens next in the story is amazing. The Marathon County Sheriff's Department sent 24 military armed officers and an armored vehicle to his house to arrest him and put him in jail. Again, let me reiterate, he's 75 years old, and the dispute is over some garbage on his lawn. 24 military-style armed officers and an armored vehicle to go pick this guy up. So they pick him up, they bring him to jail, he's in jail for a while, eventually he's released, and he ends up having to pay the $80,000. Now, I think he actually tried to go through some sort of a court process and have some sort of a hearing, but if I'm not mistaken, they ruled against him, and get this, this poor guy, he had about $200,000 saved up for his retirement, lost it all. All because of some garbage on his lawn. Now, what are we to make of this story? There's so many different angles to this that get me angry. Number one, let's just nip this in the bud. This shouldn't have been a problem to begin with. It shouldn't have been a problem not because, hey man, clean up your lawn, what the fuck is wrong with you? It shouldn't have been a problem because why is it the government's business what you're doing on your private property if you happen to leave a mess in the front yard? Oh, it might affect property values in a negative way. Well, that's a fucking shame for the person living next to me and the people living down the street, but it ain't none of their fucking business. My property, my decision. I'm not actually breaking a law by having some metal objects on my front lawn because I have a hobby that includes metal objects on my front lawn. Are you kidding me? This is the kind of country that we live in, where if the government doesn't approve of what you're doing on your private property when it's non-violent and you're not hurting anybody else, they can step in. I mean, again, that's like if you paint your house a color that the government doesn't like, and then they step in and say, change it. Change it or we're going to throw you in jail. That would be the exact opposite of what freedom is. See, freedom is you can make your own decisions as long as you're not hurting anybody else. So if it's the color of your house, if it's leaving stuff on your lawn, if it's being messy, clean, you name it, putting a substance in your body, all that stuff would be your decision. You don't need the collective agreement of everybody in the state to do that. So that's already a problem right there. And I don't give a fuck if you're a Republican, a conservative, a libertarian, a progressive, what have you. I don't care. Everybody should be on board with that. I mean, you want to talk about big government in the worst way possible. Hey, clean up your lawn. I don't like it like that, so I'm going to throw you in jail. Piss off, man. But then the other aspect to this is, of course, the militarized police. This is the point that the militarized police have gotten to. Again, stop and think about what happened. A 75-year-old dude wouldn't clean up his lawn, so you send 24 fully armed military-style officers in an armored vehicle. First thing I'd do if I was in control of this situation and I had authority, immediately scrap that armored vehicle. Give it back to the Pentagon, give it to whoever the fuck the higher-ups are, we're done. We don't need that. You've abused the right to have it, and now you can't have it. See, the problem is the officers view it as a toy. And when you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail, and they can't wait to use their toys. They can't wait to use their hammer. So you say, okay, 75-year-old guy with some shit on his lawn? I don't care. Yeah, go. Let's break out the armored vehicle. Why are you dressed up like you're, fucking Contras in Nicaragua? Why are you dressed up like a paramilitary unit in the middle of the jungle to go talk to a man about a small fine for shit in his lawn? Are you kidding me? But this is the point that we've gotten to in America. It's an us versus them mentality. The police cannot wait to use all their toys. They cannot wait to use their flashbang grenades, like the story we did on Friday about how they use that to go into a strip club. They can't wait to use tear gas. They can't wait to use noise-making machines. They can't wait to use rubber bullets. They can't wait to use all this stuff, so they use it at the most ridiculous times, and then they act like it's normal. They act like this is okay. No, this is a police state. This is the definition of a police state. What we need to do is the obvious. So you demilitarize the police, and you also make them all wear cameras. I mean, so many things. And you end the drug war. Not that this story has anything to do with the drug war, but that would cut back on police abuse as well. But if you do those three things, you can almost overnight seriously change the feeling of the people towards the police, because you would drastically cut abuse, drastically cut corruption, drastically cut this us versus them mentality. It wouldn't be perfect because it's never going to be perfect, but it would help big time. But until we really make some fundamental reforms, we're going to be hearing stories like this more and more often. 75-year-old dudes with stuff on their lawn, and you have a paramilitary army coming to drag them away in cuffs.